Lydia, welcome to the program. I know this is your first time on the program, but you're not a stranger to AIM, not at all. I know I met you about 13 years ago and been able to watch your career develop, and you're doing some really good things and wanted to get some exposure to the things that you're doing to our members. But first, tell us a little bit about the children's home there in Illinois and what we should know about it as we get into a discussion about the great things you're doing.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Phil. Happy to be here. We are located in Peoria, Illinois. And we're a nonprofit organization that has been around for 158 years, like you started the program with. It is a very long-standing organization here in the Peoria community. We do have services that are provided to both youth and families here in Peoria. They range from education services to counseling services to some of our foster care programs. And then we do have some residential living that provides homes for youth that are in DCFS care. So we have a very diverse group of programming that we offer to our community here and the surrounding counties. So that means we've got a lot of really diverse people that work for us, as well as positions that we offer. So it's a very fun environment to work in, just being that every day is something different. So.
Well, that's for sure. All right. So, Lydia, you've been in HR for as long as I've known you, and now you sit at the top of the children's home, and you joined there because there were some changes and a movement going on. And as I understand it, you were moving away from the hierarchy of an HR oversight organization. Tell us a little bit about what you saw when you joined the children's home and how you got from where you was then when you first joined to where you are today.
Sure. When I first started with the children's home, HR was kind of the nucleus of the organization, and they really had their hands involved in every aspect of what was going on. Like you said, we've got over 400 employees, and for a small department to be that influential, was kind of not needed. We really wanted to work towards more of a culture where our supervisors were empowered to build relationships with their employees. Our supervisors felt that they could, have those tough conversations when they were needed. And so we really, as a senior executive team, really in conjunction with my colleagues on that senior executive team and with our CEO, have moved towards more of a HR being a strategic partner and being kind of the assist, if you will, in some of those, tasks that really the managers need to be doing. We went through a long process of training our managers. Thanks to our director of learning, who has put together monthly supervisor trainings that range on various topics from building trust to team building to having difficult conversations, etc. They really have done an amazing job of stepping into that role of being a manager.
So
Um, you know,
let's focus on that for a minute, Lydia,
yeah.
because I know that's something I see you at a lot of AIM events, and almost every event that we seem to have in Central Illinois. There you are, you walk in, you got this great smile. We're always happy to see you. And so you're taking that information, you're going back, you're speaking with your director of learning, and you all have, and what you were explaining to me, you partake in training and development learning sessions with your management team, supervisors, leadership every single month. This isn't what we like to refer to as dip training, right? We see organizations come in, we're going to dip them into, 8 hours of training and off they're going to go and all problems are solved. You're doing this every single month without exception. Just tell us a little bit more about how did you get to that point and how do you sustain it?
Sure. Yeah, so my director of learning started our leadership development process a few months before I started. So this was a initiative that, he really was leading, and thankfully the senior executive team at the time saw, value in that. But it has kind of evolved. We had to really kind of start with square one, how to complete a performance evaluation. What does progressive discipline mean? And now, as we've gone on, we've gotten to really touch on more kind of leadership topics with, building trust, and what does emotional intelligence mean, and kind of some higher level, more deeper thinking type of, really leadership development. So that's kind of the process that we have taken. Yeah.
And so with that, is it just this is your supervisors that are in the
Mhm.
training, or
Yep.
is it the entire management organization? Do you participate in the training yourself?
I do. Yes, we definitely have a culture of continuous learning. There's always something more that we can learn about. There's something that we can do differently, and make improvements on. And so, yes, every single one of our managers that supervises people, whether it's one person or, a whole division of people, attends these leadership development sessions. And I feel that that is really meaningful to have, even our senior executive team attend the same learning sessions that, all of our managers are attending. We by no means are the experts on everything. So always looking to learn more and see how, we can improve as leaders as well.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic when you have that top-down support. I know many HR leaders seem to kind of bounce around from one organization to another sometimes when they're looking for that support, and they land and then they discover, well, they don't necessarily have the support of the entire organization, or, they're not really maybe they were sold a bill of goods, it's like, that's not really what I was looking for when I came here. How did you know the children's home was the right place for you when you selected them?
Sure. Well, I'll never forget, looking at the job description and seeing kind of what positions it oversaw. And three things told me that HR was kind of a pivotal player at the children's home when I first chose to come here. One being that they had a chief HR officer, someone who sat at, that top table, to really kind of be the voice of the employees, and just the fact that they had that
So
position.
they already had the
Right.
position
That
in
was
place. It
very
wasn't the
meaningful.
promise of a position or the
Exactly.
first time we're going to
Yep.
do it.
Yep.
Okay.
So the fact that that position existed was very meaningful. But also that they saw that it was important to invest in a full-time safety coordinator and a full-time leader or director of learning. And so the fact that they're investing in safety, for a full-time position, investing in training and development in a full-time position. I mean, those are the things that kind of tend to get cut first. So the fact that they had two people, that I would get to oversee was really exciting. And not to mention, an entire robust HR team, that really we have a specialist dedicated to every aspect of HR. So I really could see that, I would have these people that could keep the ship running while also being able to work on maybe some more strategic and higher level initiatives. So
That's
kind of
great.
exciting to have a team to come into.
No, I think I appreciate you sharing, kind of what you saw when you selected the children's home. I know what they saw in you, obviously, but what you saw in them. Tell us a little bit more about the sanctuary model that you use.
Sure. Yeah, so all of this change kind of from HR being the powerhouse of the agency to being more of a strategic partner and empowering our leaders and encouraging kind of that democratic leadership and servant leadership, has really been a strategic move, because I've known all along that we were moving towards this sanctuary model. So ever since day one of working here, our CEO, Lydia Miller, has been talking about a people first culture of care. And so that is our motto. You'll see it on everything, all of our presentations and everything like that. So the way that we are operationalizing that is by implementing this trauma-informed, people-first type of model that really focuses more on how our employees interact with one another. Because if you can get your employees treating everyone from a trauma-informed lens, then that is going to trickle down and give our clients the best care that they can receive. Happy employees means that you're going to get better output and better outcomes for your clients. So that is the way that we're moving with this model. It does have, it's a 3-year long implementation. Right now, we're heavy in the training portion, just getting everybody speaking the same language and understanding exactly what this means. But then it does come with these 7 commitments that really are going to permeate throughout our whole organization. And we've had about 60 staff go through a 5-day training already, and it has just been an overwhelmingly positive experience, and the feedback has just been incredible. People are really excited about where it's.
Lydia, you can add another piece to that when you say happy employees. I've often said on the program, and to Phil, happy employees also don't sue.
Yeah, no, that's true.
This is true. I guess that would be a silver lining. Yes,
it would be.
That is true. While we just have a couple minutes left here, you don't always see democracy as part of a learning model or a people first model in this case within an organization. What does that mean at Children's Home?
What that means here is that when there are any decisions that are being made, we are very thoughtful, very mindful about, if we make this decision, who's it going to affect? And making sure that the people who are affected by that decision or change have a seat at that table when discussing the potential of what's going to happen. Just making sure that we are getting everybody's perspective, and obviously we would roll anything out with positive intent, but making sure that how people perceive it is looked at before we may roll something out. So just having a very democratic approach, allowing all voices to be heard, as best we possibly can.
Yeah, that doesn't make it easier. No, I would assume that makes it much harder.
Yes, it does. It makes it harder. It makes it take longer, but I think it makes it more meaningful, and definitely better received on the other end when they know about it. They know that it's coming. They know that they've had their voice heard. And we can go forward with it.
Thank you once again for tuning in to This Week at Work. If you enjoy the show, please share it with your colleagues. Forward our invites. Share the link, aimea.org/This Week at Work, or follow or subscribe wherever you get your news and entertainment, like LinkedIn, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're everywhere you are. And you can be part of the show. Send your questions and comments anytime to info@thisweek.work. We'll see you next week, 7:30 a.m. Central Time, when we discuss what's happening this week at work.